You found me again, did you? Well, today I want to show you how to draw farmland. And what better way than to look at farmland? Now around here, as you can see, they farm oranges. The most interesting thing about farmland is, look down here. Rows. Oh, actually, this is really neat. It's kind of cold today. There's the windmills running. More rows. They just keep going row after row after row. I'm going to take you to another vantage point just to show you what I mean, and then I'll show you how I'll draw this. Okay, I got to show you this. Look at this. This is some old irrigation. I don't know, this has got to be 25,000 years old or something like that. No, just joking, but it is neat. You've got this old irrigation along here, and it runs quite a distance actually. Anyway, let's go to the top. Okay, it's freezing out here, but I want to show you. Okay, look down here, and you can see the rows. You can see how each one of these orange trees is planted. This grove is planted in rows. This is what I'm going to show you how to do on a map. Let's apply what we learned outside to the map. What's step number 1? Well, with farmland, we're talking about rows and lines. Let's add a new layer. And what I would recommend is I would turn on a grid or use a grid on your paper if this is your first time doing it, because it really helps make your lines consistent. You can see I have a grid here. We're going to go 5 squares, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And what I'll do is I'll go in the middle of this square and I'll draw a line. Now, I'm not going to draw the orange grove first. I'm going to do as if it were some wheat or something like that. And if you have a little bit of an organic looking line, a little wavy, it looks like it's vegetation, you can break up that line, and we're going to draw it over a series of a 5 by 5 grid. Go a little bit more, break it up. You try and make it look consistent. So that was a solid line, a few little breakups here. Go down one more time over here. That's step number 1. Well, what's step number 2? Step number 2 is to take this and we are going to flip it. Start over here and we're going to do this. And you're making sort of a patchwork, like a little quilt, but it really looks good. And there you go. Now, what you would do, you would continue this type of pattern over the entirety of the area that you want your farmland. So you'd never want to have 2 areas beside each other like that run in the same direction. So we'll undo those lines. You can see I'll draw these ones fairly quickly. I'm going to keep that 5 by 5 grid. You can play around with the spacing a little bit, but as long as you stay within that grid, it'll actually look pretty good. And down here, you're not going to draw the lines going the same direction again, like I said. You're going to draw them going perpendicular. And really quickly, you can draw this pretty quickly actually, you have a really nice looking farmland area. Let's turn off the grid and you can take a look. Looks pretty good. Now let's do one more thing. Let's look at it as if it were those oranges. So we're going to turn back the grid on. Let's make it a greenish color. We'll make the pen size, oh, that's pretty good. And we'll do the same thing. We'll use that same grid pattern. And inside of each one, draw these little blobs that look like trees. And this one you don't have to alternate the pattern. You don't have to go over here and go sideways, because look what happens. It's the same thing. And so you've got this. We'll just finish this line right here. And to make it oranges, might as well add in some orange color. And look at that. Very quickly, you have created an orange grove. Let's look at an example of the farmland on a finished map. You can see we have rows here. It looks like they planted some wheat or some tomatoes or something. And you can see there's also areas of trees that are planted in rows. And you can see that, that could be an apple orchard or something like that. If you want to find out more, I have a website called fantasymapping.com. You can see more examples there. And I also have a book on how to draw fantasy maps with many, many examples. It's called Fantasy Mapping Drawing Worlds, and you can find a link to that in the description. Well, I can't wait to see what your farmland looks like on your maps. Thank you.